guys, welcome to another episode of A Cup of Positivity. I hope you're all good and thanks so much for tuning in today. This week on the podcast, I have Nadia Luongo. She is such a lovely person and full of knowledge about nutrition and natural health remedies. Nadia tells me of her experience suffering with bulimia and disordered eating throughout her late teens and early 20s. She has recently decided to take the brave step and tell her story openly in the hopes of helping others who might also be recovering from an eating disorder. She also tells us about her amazing new plant-based café, the Vardo. This café is full of nutritious foods as well as special treats like Biscoff cheesecake. Oh my god. She also explains why she uses CBD oil and the importance of eating organic seasonal foods. Not only this, but her café is also full of positive vibes, including scented candles, crystal bath bombs, and body positivity workshops. I love the way Nadia has taken positive steps to healing and is now sharing her knowledge of nutrition with the rest of us in such a positive way. I really hope you enjoy listening, and as always, please do send me any feedback. See you soon. Hey Nadia, welcome to A Cup of Positivity. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. First things first, do you have your cup of tea with you?
So I am drinking a fruit tea and I've added some reishi powder into it.
Some what powder?
Some reishi powder?
What is that?
Do you know about adaptogens?
No, but you know what? Someone mentioned it on one of my previous episodes and I was like, I have no idea what that is.
Goodness, adaptogens are great. So I've got reishi powder in here and it's a form of mushroom. So it's dried and then it's powdered out. And it's for like respiratory system, helps with your cognitive function, immune system, energy boost.
Wow.
They're brilliant.
So can you just like Google adaptogens and then it will just give you info on it?
Yeah, so you can Google them and they will give you like a whole list. I mean, there are hundreds that you can have, or you can buy specific blends from like Raw Living or Full Somatic also have blends.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
They're great.
And what about your mug? Have you got like a special mug or anything that you brought with you?
So I live with my boyfriend and we've got these book standard boy mugs.
Oh,
it's okay, it's cute.
I have, what do I have today? I've forgotten.
What have you got?
So I was gifted some samples from this brand called Twenties, and so today I have raspberry chocolate kiss. So it's got Sri Lankan black tea, Chinese black tea, cocoa nibs, cocoa shells, rose petals, and freeze-dried raspberries.
That sounds indulgent, doesn't it?
I know. Like their flavors are really cool. Like I've been using them like in my recent episodes. So they're like really funky flavors. I'm really enjoying it.
Nice. Raspberry is supposed to be really good for like our reproductive system as well, isn't it?
Oh,
like red raspberry leaf. Yeah. Really good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're like periods and stuff.
Ah, I actually really like berry flavored teas.
Yeah, I love a berry tea.
Yeah.
Like a summer fruit.
Yeah, I think I had summer berries in one I recorded yesterday. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm liking these, but this is like a mix of like berries and chocolate, which is the perfect blend.
Perfect combo.
Yeah. Exactly.
Brilliant.
Oh, okay, so let's start off with an introduction. So for anyone who's never heard of you or isn't following you on Instagram, let's just give them a little intro into who you are.
Okay, so I'm Nadia, I'm 25. I own a plant-based cafe in Bedford. I don't like to use the term vegan because there's some things that I use that definitely aren't vegan, like my phone, the paint that's on the walls. You know, those little things. I was bulimic for 6 years. And following bulimic, I had disordered eating for about 7 years. I'm in my second year of recovery now and have only just started talking about what it's like to go through when you have an eating disorder.
I firstly just want to say like thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I've obviously like read a few things about you and I read like a recent blog that you posted.
Yes, about recovery.
Yeah. So yeah, like thanks for being brave and just sharing that story with our listeners and viewers. Let's go back to like the beginning. So you suffered with an eating disorder, in this case, bulimia. So how did bulimia affect you and how is it different from other eating disorders?
Oh, it affected everything that I did. I got to the point where I was so bad that my hair started to fall out and I couldn't walk. My circulation was so bad, my feet would go blue. And it stemmed from, so they say things like eating disorders and whatnot are stemmed from traumas in your life. And it's just how your brain comes to deal with it. It started when I was at college. I was about 18. And, you know, when you're out with your friends, you're just talking and there's like little leftover nibbly bits and you'll just pick up whoever's plate, because I know that I do that. And one of my friends was like, oh, Nad's bullied it. She's put quite a bit of weight on. And I don't know why, but this comment is things that you say, like these comments, they're kind of like thrown around everywhere anyway in the staff room. Like, oh, do you want that last thing or whatnot?
Yeah.
I went home and I weighed myself and I didn't weigh a lot. I'm not going to say what it was because it could be quite triggering for anyone that's listening. And it was like my whole world had literally fallen apart from this. And I was so upset that it made me feel incredibly sick. I remember running to the toilet and just I didn't make myself sick. It was just from how upset that I was that people had now viewed me differently because I'd gained a little bit of weight. Yeah, and that's just kind of how it started, really.
So that was like the triggering moment that you remember.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm guessing your friend didn't mean it in any kind of malicious
No, not
way.
at
Like
all.
it's just one of those like cheeky comments that you make. And
Of course. And like, to be fair, I'm always finishing. If we're in Nando's and someone has left a few chips, I'll just be like, yeah, I'll eat them. It's fine.
yeah.
So, I mean, she didn't mean anything bad by it, but the language that we use can be really affecting and triggering disordered eating, or perhaps not.
And then, so how long did you say you were suffering with bulimia?
I was bulimic for 6 years.
Yeah. And then, but how is it different? Like, what are the signs that someone is specifically suffering from bulimia that's different to, say, anorexia or any other eating disorders?
It's hard to say. So with bulimia, someone is an average weight because they're still consuming calories.
Mm-hmm.
So with anorexia nervosa, you might notice that the person is really slim.
Mm-hmm.
And this is because they're not consuming any calories at all. But with bulimia, you're still an average weight. So I think when I was bulimic, I'm still the same dress size as what I was when I was bulimic, for example. So it's really hard to tell, but there are things you can look out for, like skipping meals or eating more at dinner time. This is part of the binge purge cycle. If you're hearing things like strange noise, repeated patterns. So if someone's ate dinner and then they've gone to the toilet, or they've eaten lunch and then gone straight to the toilet, these will be like the purge episodes.
Okay. But you would binge eat as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the way that I don't want to say too much in case I encourage anyone. So please, guys, if you're listening, don't do any of this.
Yeah.
But the way that I was doing it would be, I would try not to eat. And when I did, it would be like uncontrollable binging.
But then how long did it take for you to acknowledge that you had an eating disorder?
It's hard to say. So I had disordered eating from about 12, where I started cutting out food groups, like carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
I went raw vegan when I was about 16 to cut out everything. I mean, I'm vegan now, but I went raw vegan when I was younger to cut out everything, and just, it was basically slang for, oh, you don't eat.
Okay, so then what would your like typical day look like? Because were you working as well back then, or were you at college?
I was at college and I was at work, but it got to a point where my depression was so bad, I was self-harming. I had crippling anxiety that I couldn't actually leave the house. So I never used to go to college, which made it a whole lot worse. I would get up in the morning, weigh myself, and that number on the scale would determine if I ate breakfast or if I would wait until lunch.
Okay.
So I think typically in an average day back then, I used to weigh myself somewhere between 15 and 20 times a day.
Wow.
So you'd wake up, weigh yourself, eat or not eat, try and do something to lose a few more pounds during. Most times it would involve like some kind of laxative.
Okay.
Which a lot of people with eating disorders use. And then eating lunch, because like my mum was around me, my dad would be at home. and then going through the cycle. So eat, sick, eat again, try and look normal. What an average day would look like.
Yeah. And then like how, I know you touched on it earlier, but then how would that affect your body physically, apart from obviously the psychological stuff?
So I didn't really lose a lot of weight in the beginning. I went down to a really light weight. I went down to 7 stone 2 at 20 years old. And that was really hard. Like my hands started to flake and they'd go all red. I had constant puffy cheeks and a bloating in the belly. This is obviously like from pressure. So those are the physical things that you see, as well as like hair loss, your periods stop, constantly dry lips, because your body's in a state of dehydration. And after a few months or even a few weeks, it depends because everyone is different, but you disengage from feeling hungry or feeling full. So that's something else. Never feel hungry.
Yeah. So would you even feel like thirsty? Would you not drink anything throughout the day?
I wouldn't feel thirst.
Wow. Okay.
Thirst, but you would just know to drink. So like now, like my diaphragm is a little bit damaged from years of abuse. But I know that, okay, like I need to eat dinner, I need to eat lunch. But the way I look at it now is like, this is my fuel.
Yeah, that's what your body needs.
Yeah.
And I know you said like you had that trigger at the beginning that you can identify was the trigger, but did you have a trigger that made you think I need to do something now to make to begin my recovery? And like, how did you take those steps into recovery?
So I knew that I needed to recover because I was really upset when my hair started to fall out. It was quite long, probably like past my breast, and I had to get it all chopped off to about my jawline.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was like quite a lot. But when I was in the shower, it would come out, or when I brushed my hair, just clumps of it. My body stopped producing keratin. And it's so strange because back then I started to go grey at the age of 20. And since I've recovered, I've not had a single grey. So I'm not sure what's happened, but it's kind of gone backwards on itself.
Yeah.
So I went to a doctor and he referred me to a therapist. It was helpful. I did really find it helpful. I think I definitely needed it. But after a few months with my therapist, I decided to go alone and use what I had learned to just figure stuff out by myself.
What encouraged you to make that decision to like just do it on your own?
What encouraged me?
Yeah, like why did you make that decision to go it alone and not continue with the therapist?
Very much about gaining weight and supporting you on how to gain weight, how to have an average body weight. But there are some things that aren't really supportive. Like if you've been triggered through, this is how you're dealing with it, then that doesn't ever get addressed. And no one tells you that when you've recovered, you'll really miss your eating disorder. It's something that I spoke about in the blog post that I've done. Not to romanticize having an eating disorder, but no one talks you through that. So once I'd got to a stable weight, I just kind of went, okay, so now I have these mental issues that I need to deal with to figure out what they are.
And when you say you kind of used some information that the therapist gave you, and then you just kind of went alone from there, like what exactly did you do?
So they ask you to name like a part of your brain. You've got the rational side and the irrational side, and the irrational side is the one that tells you like you shouldn't eat that cookie, or you should go and weigh yourself and all of this. So I still do that when I have these like dark thoughts. I'll say, oh, that's not you thinking, that's the other side of the brain. And I learned a lot about nutrition and holistic healing, where I thought I've got enough knowledge now that I can do this. I just thought, why not?
Yeah, that's really brave of you, because I almost feel like a therapist kind of becomes like your comfort zone, right, when you're in recovery. So if it's only 2 months and you already think, I'm just going to carry on my own, I'll be fine, it can be quite scary.
It's really scary. And I mean, I wasn't great at it. I lapsed a lot. So I think I went into recovery maybe like two or three times again. But each time I just kind of pick up something else and then just keep going.
Mm.
I think it helps as well that I've grown up a lot. So the peak of it, I was about 19 to 21.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown up quite a bit, and now I have these life experiences that I didn't have before. So
yeah, exactly. Do you have quite a strong support system as well around you?
I do. Yeah, I have my mum and my friends. My boyfriend's brilliant as well. But one thing I noticed through therapy is that there is no support for those that support you. It can be really damaging. I'm guessing. I mean, I don't really know what my mum was feeling at the time, but when you see your child completely abuse themselves and feel almost as if they are worthless, and that the only way that, because it is a bit like the only way you can survive is if you are how you want to be in your head or how society tells you to be. So I think that must be really, really hard for my mum to take in. And especially my dad, he dealt with a lot of what I was doing and cleaned up a lot after me. But there was no support there for your loved ones.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I wouldn't even think of that as well, because you kind of always think of the person going through it rather than the people around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how are you feeling now? You're like 2 years into recovery, you said.
I'm feeling great.
Good.
I'm feeling really good. Sometimes I have really bad days. It's normal. And there are times where I feel like I want to, or I might relapse.
Yeah.
And before, I would really beat myself up about the fact that, you know, like I've purged or I've done this or I've skipped a meal. But now I just kind of use it as a reminder and say, like, look, this is not where you want to be. And we'll just restart from this moment. That has helped massively. That little change in perspective.
Yeah. What would you say has been the most difficult thing about your recovery?
Trying to gain weight and not lose weight, but trying to gain weight and or tone up healthily. The bulimia or the eating disorder mindset is a bit like, well, this is the easiest way and I've done this before and this will get me here quicker in comparison if I was to go to the gym, and eat protein shakes and eat really balanced meal preps. This would be the quickest way. And that is so challenging to constantly have that mindset when you're training. So I spoke to a personal trainer today, actually, and I was like, look, I need some help because no matter how many times I go to the gym or do something, my mind immediately backtracks and just says, like, this is the way, this is the way. And sometimes coming out of that can be really difficult.
Yeah. So are you a gym member and do you have a PT as well?
I don't. So I've just got a PT, which I'm starting with her next week.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, actually. Really looking forward to it.
It's exciting. I remember when I used to have a PT. Yeah. Someone to push you and you can't hide from them.
That's what I feel like I need.
Yeah.
Just a little bit like, oh, you should be doing this instead.
Yeah. And I'm guessing you told them about what you've been through. So, you know, why you need help. Yeah. Okay. So what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of your recovery?
Being able to do things.
Yeah.
Full stop. Because I think I mentioned earlier that it got to a point where I couldn't walk properly. And now I'm walking, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm actually doing this. We really take for granted the little things that we have, our everyday things, breathing, our heart pounding, our legs, our arms. And that has just been something so joyous in my life. I know it sounds a bit silly.
No, it doesn't.
Even watching my hair grow, I'm like, oh my goodness, my hair has grown so long.
Yeah.
In comparison to where it used to be. I mean, I've still got a few like bald patches here and there, but again.
Yeah. Are you learning as well about like vitamins or like, are there any supplements that could help with things like that?
Yeah, so I've learned when I was in my recovery, I started doing loads of nutritional courses because I just kind of went, if I'm going to recover, I need to learn about the bodily function, how it works, what supports what, and how I can just be my healthiest. I think I tend to lapse a lot less when I'm in that mindset. So it works out a lot better. But yeah, I've managed to help quite a few women and younger people in the same position because of it. So it's been really nice.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you've already taught me about adaptogens.
They're so good.
Yeah, this is the second time I've heard it, like in the last 2 weeks. And I'm like,
oh, then you have to get
no
some.
idea. Yeah,
Right. So
exactly.
they respond to your stress hormones and your like levels. So the reason is because they literally adapt.
Interesting. And then what can like families do to help someone that they think might be suffering with an eating disorder?
Well, that's a hard one.
Because I'm guessing there was a while where you didn't talk to your family about it. And I know you mentioned in your blog that you actually became really good at hiding it at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to hide any mental illness. I mean, you see people with depression that look like the most happiest people in the world. But things like bulimia and anorexia are extremely easy to hide. One of the best things you can do is not force that person to eat, which sounds, it's obviously what you want to do and you want to encourage them to eat. But when that's happening to you, it's awful. It's a nightmare. Because you've got so much pressure on you, like, oh, they've gone out of their way to do this, and if I don't eat this, and they'll know something's wrong. But if I eat this, then I'll gain this, or what if it changes my body immediately? They're very irrational thoughts that you have surrounding food. So I kind of had this image at one point that if I even drank like a liter of water, then my whole body would show that liter of water.
Okay. Yeah. So then what do you encourage? Like, do you encourage communication, or do you encourage them to like see a professional?
I'd say definitely communication.
Mm.
Just having someone that can relate to you and what you're going through is really helpful. I mean, they might not understand it, but just someone to say like, oh, how did that make you feel? Or this, I felt similar when this happened at work yesterday. So communication is really important. And I would definitely advise anyone, if you're struggling, to go and seek professional help, making sure that you are with a doctor as well. Because sometimes if you haven't eaten for a long period of time and then you eat, your body kind of goes into shock, which can be so detrimental to our health as well. So if you're supporting someone that is trying to gain weight healthily after recovering from an eating disorder, please make sure that you have your general practitioner around you.
Okay. And then also just stemming from what you were saying earlier, so how can we support your support system? Like, what can we do? Would you say like just talk to friends who are like outside of family, or is there anything at all available to the support system?
There's nothing available for our support systems, which is really sad. And I mean, you can be put on the list for counselling and stuff, but I think because you are the support system, you're not really first or prioritised.
So then what did,
it is a bit shit, to be honest.
Yeah. How did your parents cope with it? They just kind of spoke to each other, or?
I think so. I mean, they didn't speak to me about it, which is really bad. Yeah, they did not speak to me about it at all.
I suppose maybe they didn't want to. If you're already going through stress of like trying to recover, you don't really want the stress of like, I don't think they would want you to see it as you're putting them through stress.
Yeah. And it's a bit like, oh, will this trigger her, or is this going to cause something else?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a difficult one. So tell us about your cafe. Is it the Vardo? Is that how you pronounce it?
It is, yes.
Okay, so how did that come about?
It's something that I've always wanted to do, actually. I turned vegetarian from a very young age. I think I was about 11 when I turned vegetarian. This is separate to cutting out food groups. But yeah, and I kind of thought to myself, one day I'm going to have a calf and it's going to be vegetarian.
Yeah.
And my nan was very into herbalism. So like, this is probably where I get all the adaptogen stuff from.
Yeah.
Used to have like a veggie patch in her garden where she'd grow all of these kind of herbs, and you fall over. She was like, oh, let me get some rosemary oil. We'll just start like rubbing this on you. So a Vardo is a gypsy wagon, and our logo is the wagon wheel. So I kind of used that as inspo to open the calf.
How long ago did you open it?
You know what? We opened in February.
This year?
We opened in February. We locked down in March.
Oh gosh.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah. And like, why a food business? Just because of that, because of your nan's like influence?
Mostly because of my nan's inspiration. But when I was in recovery, I learned so much about the body that I was like, right, we need to get this out there. We need to help people learn about what's good for them. And how you can fight things off naturally. So I talk a lot about the immune system on the Instagram page, especially now that we're in like this COVID times, and how we can support that naturally using holistic herbs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a kind of way of introducing something else into people's lifestyles. But most of it is through what I learned through recovery.
And what kind of like food or what kind of dishes do you sell?
Oh, we sell loads of stuff. I can't even remember. We've got like toffee apple pancakes this month.
That's amazing.
Chickpea curry, I know. We try and eat seasonally in the cafe.
Yeah. But
So
then is
really
it like lunch and dinners or? Sorry, go on.
No, it's like brunch and lunch.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, sorry, you eat seasonally and what else?
So we eat seasonally in the cafe and we have a really high focus on eating what's in season because then it's not GMO. So have you heard of the Dirty Dozen?
No.
So there's a Dirty Dozen of health foods that are constantly mass produced, which means that they're not in season. They're lacking vital vitamins, nutritions. They're GMO. They're either grown underground or in artificial light source. Things like blueberries, strawberries, things that you can get all year round, basically apples, bananas. They are part of the Dirty Dozen.
So you
move away from that.
So you could think that you're eating really healthily, but actually they're not like natural or naturally produced.
Yeah, so you're not getting the most out of them. So I mean, there's nothing, if you're eating blueberries, that's fine, but then are you getting the blueberry? It's a weird one.
Yeah. But then how do you even know? Like, do you just source it from specific places or you just don't eat them if they're not in season?
We'll get ours from specific wholesalers for the calf, but at home we try and get the organic ones because they're more inclined to be seasonally following and grown properly without like the pesticides.
Yeah. Okay. And so I saw on your Instagram as well, it was like a picture from your calf and it said, what did it say? It was related to CBD. Have you heard about CBD or something like that? So do
ask
you
us
use
the health benefits of CBD.
Do you use CBD oil in your recipes or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little bit in love with CBD.
Okay, I want to know the health benefits of it.
It is amazing. So the one that we use in the calf is peppermint flavored and it's got clary sage and peppermint in. And that one there is specifically tailored for women's health. So the people that make it, their slogan is kind of like for women, made by women, and tested on women, which is fab.
Yeah.
And it's all about our reproductive system, our sleep, our hormone development. It's just really calming.
Really?
Yeah, it's brilliant. So CBD itself there's two parts of the cannabis plant. You've got the THC, which is the psychoactive compound, and then you've got the CBD, which is the non-psychoactive compound.
Okay.
So the THC is what, makes you high, gives you the munchies and all of that. But the CBD is just the medicinal benefits, the calming, the ness.
Yeah.
The niceness.
Yeah. And then where do you source from? And like, how do you know that you're sourcing from like a reputable seller?
So it takes a lot of research at the beginning. You want to find someone it's hard as well because you want to go to somewhere that's sustainable instead of just mass producing cannabis. So to find sustainable producers are pretty hard, but the people that we're with, they're really like into it and they're all about eco-friendly periods, working properly with their workers, which is great as well, because not all of it is grown in the UK. I don't think we're even allowed to grow it in the UK.
Yeah. Okay. So then would you recommend a brand?
I would recommend, there's two that I use at home, which I'm a little bit in love with, Pure Sports CBD and Our Remedy, which is the minty clary sage one.
And what do? You just put like a few drops in your food or?
Put it in anything. So I'll have it in soups or I'll just pop it like under my tongue, in my coffees, hot chocolate. The hot chocolate with the peppermint CBD is really nice.
That sounds good.
So good.
Yeah. And like how often would you have it?
It would totally depend on what you're trying to gain from it. So for someone suffering with a chronic illness or like an autoimmune disease, you probably want to add CBD into your diet every day. So it eases the effects, eases pain, like joint pain or migraines, sleep disorders. But if you're just using it for nerves or something, you can just have like a little Brit still pop up.
Yeah. And then I want to know a little bit more about like the Café. Like, how has it been? Like, obviously opening this year, which is probably like really bad timing, but were you able to open? Like, are you able to open now?
Yeah, we're open now. And do you know what? It's been actually a really good first year. So when we opened, we were a catering company before a cafe. So I kind of built it up like that. I was a little bit cheeky. I kind of went, I should have some kind of following. I know it's not all about Instagram followers, but
yeah,
or I should probably have some kind of following, a customer base before I opened the cafe. So we were a catering company beforehand. And then when we opened, it was massively popular and we locked down. So thankfully that customer base that I built up through catering has literally saved us.
Yeah.
It's been okay. And like, we're open now, we're back to our normal hours, our winter hours, obviously. And we're doing okay. We're doing good.
Yeah. And has it helped you like with your recovery? Because I don't know, do people ask you like, are you okay, like working with food every day?
Oh, constantly. Yeah. Constantly. So like before I opened, my mum was like, I don't think this is a good idea. I think you're going to be triggered. And I was like, I just need to do it and see. Because sometimes, you know, I don't really want to be around food if I'm having a bad day. But on the flip side of that, it's kind of like meditation. It's really mindful to me to sit and bake a cake or to decorate a cake. So there are plus sides to that.
Yeah.
I find useful. I mean, other people might really struggle with it, but it's nice and it keeps me busy. So then it kind of is my routine. I don't have time to sit and think about, oh, this cookie that I ate or.
Yeah. But also I suppose that people that come to the restaurant are enjoying your food as well. So you're kind of seeing a positive to the food that you're making rather than this like negative connotation it has.
Yeah. And a lot of our customers are meat eaters.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Which is very bizarre, but they love it there. They love it there, which makes me feel really good because then I think there's like a stereotype for men that go or women that go to the gym and they like eat chicken every day with rice and broccoli. But it's not the case at all. They want nourishing, really good for you food. They come there a lot.
Yeah. I feel like I want to go there. It's a bit far from me, but maybe I'll make the trip at some point.
A little bit far.
Yeah, it's in Bedford, right?
It is, yeah. You're London based, aren't you?
Yeah, but sometimes sometimes I'm in Northampton for work, so maybe I can like pass by or something.
Bye.
Yeah.
Let me know when you do though, because sometimes I take days off, like today.
Okay.
Just taking a day off, guys.
Yeah. I have a very important podcast recording.
Yeah. And I have to binge something on Netflix for 5 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And what else do you sell? Because I saw some candles on your Instagram page. Yeah,
so we have these like aromatherapy candles and they're all vegan. Don't know if do you know them? They're called Fire Nest candles. Good. She's so good, bless her. She's 19 and she's just opened her own shop.
Wow.
So sweet. She had a business beforehand, but I think there was a little bit of jealousy and it got shut down.
Oh.
But she's kind of gone this way now.
Okay.
Yeah, she's doing really well. So we do like candles. There's I don't know if you believe in like crystal healing and stuff, but there's these bath bombs at the minute with crystals in.
No. That's amazing. I love that. I'm definitely going to make time to go and visit you. You're going to be open? Yeah. I might pop down at Christmas because I'll take some time off during Christmas.
Come on down. I mean, we're shut Mondays and Sundays.
Okay. That's fine. Just come down during the week.
Sundays we do like yoga events or meditation events and stuff, mindfulness.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Got a 4-week body positivity course coming up, which will be Sunday evenings. Yeah, that's going to be really good.
So what is that? What does that entail?
It's going to start with working through our senses. So, you know, when you're anxious and you say things like, name 5 things that I can see, name 3 things that I could hear. that like grounding method.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with that and work through the senses. So like intuitive eating, appropriate language, the way that we view ourselves, things that we are saying to ourselves, and then we'll do some meditations based around our bodies, how they make us feel, connecting with our inner child, because I think, as I said previously, a lot of our issues in eating disorders stem from when we were children and the things that we've had. So doing inner child work is brilliant if you have any kind of mental illness. And then we finish with writing a letter to ourselves. So it's all very like yoga, mindfulness based, but it's also body positivity and recovering from body dysmorphia.
Yeah. And is that like a class or?
I think we're going to open it up to be a workshop.
Okay,
so
but it's something that happens
formal.
in the Café, or can people join like online? Can they do an online?
I think it's going to be in the Café.
Okay.
Online wouldn't be too bad, but I feel like for something like that, you might need to be physically connected.
I feel like your Café is like a mini retreat.
Like it's actually a hub.
Yeah.
That's what we call it, like a little holistic hub. And we just do loads there. We're planning a retreat day for spring.
I love that. I love the vibe and like everything you have going on. Like it's so amazing that you've done that.
Yeah, do you know what I just think? If you have the space for it, then why are you not offering it to everyone and to help everyone feel better about themselves? Got such a massive community of people around us that are suffering with all kinds of physical and mental issues, and if you can just support them a teeny tiny bit, then it's just gonna help everyone. Just gonna help everyone.
Yeah.
Modern Mother Teresa.
Yeah. Well, I love that message. I think it's amazing. Okay, so I always like finish off my interviews with what I call top three. So it's just
Okay.
3 questions where you have to give me like 3 things. So the first one is 3 signs that you or someone close to you might be suffering with an eating disorder.
Weight loss, irritability, and not wanting to eat around you.
Okay. Those are like really clear actually. Top 3 steps to take to heal from an eating disorder.
Ooh. Patience. Make sure you've got loads of patience. Communication. This is a hard one. How can I narrow it down to 3? Patience, communication, and I know it's steps, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, 3 steps. I was about to say, but then I felt like what you were saying was good. Yeah, so like what was your first step? You said you went to the doctor.
I went to the doctor, yeah. Approached my family and friends, and then I decided to acknowledge that I had an eating disorder.
Yeah.
That's probably the first step, being honest with yourself and just being like, okay, I need to stop tiptoeing around this and going through it.
And then I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this because you said you didn't remember the menu, but top 3 dishes on the menu at Vardo.
Oh, Biscoff cheesecake. Everyone Biscoff cheesecake at the Café.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, Biscoff cheesecake, burrito bowl, and pumpkin and sage ravioli. Those are my top 3.
Oh my God, they all sound amazing. Do you do lots of cakes as well, right?
Loads of cakes, yeah.
I'm just like fascinated by your Café now. When did you say the 4-week like workshop was starting?
I think it's going to start end of November. So beforehand, we're doing a body positivity. Well, it's not really body positivity. It's more based around eating disorder, but there's like a talk panel. There's 4 of us, 2 therapists, and myself and someone else that have recovered from an eating disorder. Just talk about 1 week recovery and then body dysmorphia, and then we'll do the workshop.
Yeah. Okay. Also, I mean, I know with everything happening, like events aren't happening right now, but I have worked at a yoga festival for the last like 4 years.
Okay.
If it happens next year, you need to come and bring like a food stall or something. Yeah, because they only serve vegan food at the festival.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I feel like everything about Vardo is like just perfect for the festival.
That's amazing. What is this festival?
Oh, so it's called Om and Base. So it's
Okay.
like yoga, dance workshops, martial arts workshops, and then like the main evening event, which is normally on a Saturday, is like a drum and bass. I don't want to use the word rave, but it's like a rave. So it is just like this mix of like everyone just chilling, vibing, dancing, like families are welcome. People bring like their caravans and stay for like the weekend. It's like a 3-day event.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I think you'd be perfect for that. But I'm going to keep you in mind. Hopefully they'll be able to do it. They had to cancel this year's one, obviously, but
it's such a shame, isn't it? That's been cancelled.
But yeah, I am looking forward to visiting your cafe now.
Yes,
like
looking forward to having you.
It's going to be all over my Instagram. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
How can people connect with you following this podcast?
So you can search us on Instagram at the Vardo, or you can search me personally at Nadia Luongo.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I've loved having you on, and I look forward to seeing what else you have coming up. Yeah, exactly. All right. I'll see you soon.
See you later, then.
Bye. Bye.